Shut up and be a good socialist. That's the headline sparking an uproar in the Emerald City and now nationwide. One of Seattle's finest wrote that editorial in his union newsletter, claiming that his department stopped enforcing laws that impact minorities more than the average Joe. All part of the city's so-called Race and Social Justice Initiative, which is designed to combat institutional racism in government. For example, the city's website in Seattle claims that jobs that require college degrees are racist because more white people go to college. City prosecutors have also stopped enforcing certain traffic and drug laws because they feel that they're too harsh on minorities. They are also openly admitting to requesting less jail time for illegal immigrants who are arrested for crimes because they want to prevent the feds from deporting them. Here is Seattle City Attorney Pete Holmes.
If we start to learn and understand that one of those institutional causes of racism is actually in the criminal justice system itself, it's our obligation as prosecutors, as members of the bar, to address it.
Joining me now, Angel Reyes. He's an attorney and author of Hispanic Heresy. He also supports this idea of so-called social justice. Angel, thank you so much for being here. So let me start with these, the more controversial ones. It's racist to require a college degree?
Well, no, Megan, it's not racist to require a college degree, but I think what's more important is that we read that particular language in the context of the entire statute and the entire initiative. And I don't think that's what it really says. I think that the folks that are on the other side of this issue have manufactured that problem. Well,
I'm looking at it. I confess I don't know a lot about the initiative, but I'm just looking at the Seattle website because when I heard that report, I thought, certainly not. They can't really be saying that, and yet I see this on the website. They're talking about institutional racism. This is the city. And they give an example. This is their example of institutional racism. Quote, job requirements that put undue emphasis on college degrees over work experience may eliminate qualified candidates of color who face institutional barriers to higher education. Well, it also may institute candidates who are white, who just couldn't go to college or couldn't get in or couldn't afford it. I mean, to now say that an employer who wants college-educated people is a racist is going to raise a lot of eyebrows from folks.
Yeah, it's very unlikely that it says it's any employment situation. I think it only is respect to city employees or taxpayer-funded jobs.
Even
so. I think that Seattle's taken a terrific step in the right direction with this law, because who among us really would want to live in a state or a city or a town where equal protection didn't mean equal protection
for everyone? Yeah, but you're going to the general. I hear you. I mean, when you put it like that, who's not going to be in favor of equal protection? That's in the U.S. Constitution. We all want that, but when you say equal protection, in my view, as the person who runs Seattle, or as the city attorney, is if you don't hire an employee because he lacks a college degree, you are a racist, sir. I'm going to say, really? I think you might be taking that a little too far. I mean, can you agree on that?
I don't really agree, because I think, again, the city attorney and the elected officials there in Seattle have obviously passed this initiative, and they're putting it into place step by step. And again, I think it's just in an effort to make sure that people are sensitive to racial injustices, racial sensitivities, and anti-bias. I think it's really critical for all cities to be considering such measures, because
I think you're stating incontrovertible points, right? Who is pro, racism at a city employment level? Nobody, But this cop got some heat because he wrote in his union newsletter a piece criticizing these policies, saying this is crazy. How did we get to this point? And now people are looking back at him saying you're crazy and you're inappropriate and you're in trouble. And so I'm asking you, do you agree with this cop that a program like that says, you're a racist if you don't hire people who don't have college degrees is a little weird? I know you won't give me that one. What about the one about this DA, the city attorney, who says out and out that he is requesting less jail time for immigrant criminals so that the feds won't deport them? So if he arrests an illegal for, traffic violation or whatever, he's going to request less jail time so that they don't get deported by the feds. Is that appropriate for him to be doing?
Well, I actually don't think that's very appropriate. I think that the immigration issues really are best left to the federal government at the federal level. And so if the city DA is actually taking that position, then it would actually very much surprise me I don't think that that's really what the aim here is by the city of Seattle. I think that mostly they want to make sure that in their own hiring practices, they're not favoring certain folks over others, and that there is a sensitivity that not everybody gets a college degree in answer to your earlier question.
But you're back on the education, because this thing is wide sweeping. Now I've moved on from the education policies to requesting less jail time for certain defendants than others. So they are definitely treating illegals better than actual U.S. citizens in that scenario, which they've admitted to. This is from our Dan Springer's reporting. He met and interviewed the city attorney. So that they admit to doing that. And then moreover, on top of that, one of the things that ticked off this cop who wrote the letter that started it off was they are not prosecuting certain small crimes, certain traffic offenses in particular, and alcohol offenses, because they believe that more minorities are being picked up. And he is saying just because you have more minorities who get picked up for these traffic violations doesn't mean it's a racist law, and doesn't mean I as a police officer shouldn't enforce that law.
Well, you're absolutely right. And what I'd really like to know is whether Officer Pomper, I believe his name was, is actually going about in deciding on his own, when to arrest and when not to arrest, because it's really kind of ironic that a city employee making $96,000 a year like Officer Pomper is actually in a position here to say, that this is a horrible idea and we shouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, he's an employee of the taxpayers, and the taxpayers clearly, through the will of their city council, put this initiative up, and that's why it's in place there in Seattle.
Why can't he have his view? He says that's why that statement you just made is why he entitled his opinion piece the way he did, which is, and I quote, "Just shut up and be a good little socialist." He feels like people are telling him, "Just shut up and take it," and he's not allowed to object as the cop who's being told, you got a third-degree traffic offense. You pull over the driver. He is a minority. Don't give him a citation and don't arrest him. But if it's a white guy, take him down to jail.
Well, I don't think that's what the law says, and if individual police officers are interpreting it that way in Seattle, that's really a shame. I doubt when Officer Pomper refers to folks as they, I'm not really sure who he's talking about, but if he's talking about his fellow officers, I think that he needs to do a little more checking around to see if that's really rampant and prevalent in his ranks.
So, I mean, he's a beat cop. He's out there. He says it's happening. He says he's been forced to go through training to pursue these policies. And on top of that, you got the city attorney who's saying, not only is this happening, but I defend it because I think this is the way to look out for racial minorities. So that's why it's gotten I'll give you the last word, sir.
Keep in mind what the city attorney's office is doing. They're actually just upholding the initiatives and the laws in the city, and that's really their mission. That's all their mission is. And so the city attorney is actually doing what he's supposed to do. He's, defending the folks on the city council who have put this law into place.
Understood. Angel Reyes, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Megan.
Now, folks, we're taking your thoughts on it at kelly@foxnews.com, and we continue to extend our invitation to the city attorney to come on. He had agreed to, but then said he had some scheduling conflicts, so we're going to try to get him on. So